There are a lot of things that impact your baby's gut microbiome, but there are also a lot of things that you can do to improve it. Hi, my name is Selena from Wholeness Campaign. I make videos on gut health, detoxification, and non-toxic living for those of you who are trying to heal from chronic illness naturally. In today's video, I'm going to go over how I healed my baby's gut microbiome / am in the process of healing it. With that, I'm going to give 6 of my best gut health tips for kids. This would apply for anybody who is thinking of having a baby or has babies or toddlers or even young children, because all of these principles can be translated to supporting any kind of immune dysfunction that you see in your kid. I want to start by saying that this is not a video talking about pregnancy specifically. I made an entire video about that. So if you're interested in learning how you can improve your baby's gut health from as early as conception, you should go ahead and check out that video, which I'll have linked in the description box below. I share all about how I managed my body in pregnancy, how I prepared for conception so that my baby could have the most optimal start to life as possible. And if you are pregnant, you should definitely go ahead and order Dr. Becky Plotner's book on baby gaps, which is a new book that just came out right after I was pregnant. And I glean so much of my wisdom that I'm going to share here with you from that book. It really is one of the best ways to get started in thinking about your baby's health and your baby's future long-term health. So seriously, buy it, read it, cover to cover. It's like, you'll thank me for it later. I will have that linked in the description box below as well. In this video, I'm going to go over what major things impact your baby's gut health so that you can kind of have an idea of what are the things in my life that maybe I could improve upon, what areas could I take a look at. And I'm going to give 6 tips for healing your baby's gut microbiome if you see things like eczema or allergies or food intolerances or any kind of skin or rash or body issue. And if you're new here, you know that I believe all of that starts in the gut. And so I'm going to give these 6 tips from a gut first approach, and it's going to really be a food as medicine solution. So, okay, what are the major things that impact your baby's gut health? I think there's honestly 5 things that are truly key when it comes to your baby's gut health. And that is first, maternal gut health. We know that microbiomes get passed from generation to generation. So in the same way that toxicity gets passed from generation to generation, but the mom's gut microbiome, the mom's microbiome in general, her vaginal microbiome, that gets passed on to the baby directly. So that's going to be my first one. Additionally, birth method will have an impact on your baby's gut microbiome. Babies who are born vaginally do have a extra boost because they've been lathered all over their whole body with the mom's vaginal microbiome. And we know from research that that actually goes ahead and seeds the baby's microbiome. So what gets on the skin will absorb right through that thin baby skin, and it will actually begin to form that baby's gut microbiome. There are actually C-section methods that are beginning to recognize this, and they will actually swab a mother's vaginal canal and be sure to have that topically coated on a baby after a C-section, because they recognize the benefits to that baby's immune system when they have that. Another thing is antibiotics. So if a baby was given antibiotics from a young age, oftentimes this can be administered in hospitals. That's going to have a huge impact on a baby's gut microbiome. I made a video on antibiotics and I will leave it in the description box below, but I generally try to stay away from them as much as humanly possible. So you can listen to my story on that. I have plenty of experience taking many different types of antibiotics. But for babies, you really want to make sure that as much as possible you're avoiding it, because again, that's setting the stage for their immune health. Additionally, formula fed versus breastfed babies will have a different microbiome. Babies who are breastfed are getting a constant influx of probiotics, and that is actually the only thing that is not happening in formula. So, I mean, maybe certain formula companies have started to recognize this and put probiotics into their formula. That'd be great. But what I'm seeing is the formula that's on the shelf is typically made of seed oils and a host of other ingredients I would never feed a child. And you really want to make sure that you know what is going into your baby's body. So I always will prefer breast milk donation if for some reason you cannot breastfeed. The second to that is actually going to be the GAPS baby bottle, which Dr. Becky goes over in that book. If you're interested, Weston A. Price Foundation also has a version of a formula replacement you can actually make at home with raw natural ingredients. So go ahead and check that out if you need it. But formula is going to play a big factor in how your baby, develops that microbiome, because formula in and of itself is really hard to digest. It's basically synthetically made, chemically made supplements, stuff that I actually don't even recommend any adult taking, but that's actually what's being the first thing to go into a baby's digestive system. And I honestly think that it's part of the reason why so many people have leaky gut. And that's not to shame anybody, but I do think that formula tends to not mesh well with gut health. And the last one, I'm not going to go into very much because you know why. I've had videos taken off my channel for this, but it's going to be the things that are put in babies very young age, sometimes in the hospital, those things that go into babies that are when they go to the doctor. And I'm going to just leave it at that. But anyway, all of these things really do pay an impact on your baby's gut health. But also the truth is that you have a lot of control. There's always things that you can do to improve your baby's health. And so I don't want to be sitting here if you have every single one checked off on that list, feeling a little hopeless. I truly believe there's so much that you can do. So now I'm going to jump into 6 tips for healing your baby's microbiome. These are things that I'm currently doing, even though I don't necessarily have tons of symptoms that I'm seeing in my baby, because I know the power of setting up my baby's health for life right now. So number 1 is going to be breast milk or donor breast milk. So I am breastfeeding my baby. If you don't have access to it, like I said, I would really recommend finding a donor or looking into the GAPS baby bottle, because there actually are ways to make homemade formula. Nobody's going to tell you this. It's obviously going to be more expensive than breastfeeding, but the Weston A. Price Foundation has a great formula replacement recipe as well, which I will also leave linked in the description box below. You may not have control over things that have happened in the past. You may not have control over what was fed in the hospital. You may not have control over, how the baby was born, because we can't control the past. But I do think what we can control is what we're putting in our babies right now. So breast milk is going to be really key for this. It is the most digestible thing that a baby could be having. It is the most ideal food that a baby could have is breast milk. There's a really strong push in our culture right now to go away from breast milk and really glorifying formula, making it seem like formula is not that bad. If you need to do it for your mental health, all those things, formula is not ideal. So again, with this comes like what the mom's diet is going to be. So if you're breastfeeding, really focusing on those full GAPS staple foods, those nutrient dense, probiotic rich foods is going to be so helpful for you, making sure that your digestion is happening right, and then also that the baby is able to digest things. And you see a lot of like lactose intolerance in babies, or dairy intolerances in babies, and basically what I have to say to that is that it's essentially like an imbalance of gut microbes. So getting to the root of that in mom is going to make a huge difference for baby. And there may be things you cut out for a time, but actually if you kind of steer towards those full GAPS ways of cooking things, oftentimes babies don't have any problem with that. So number 2 is going to be probiotics. And I feel like I tell this to you every single video, but Dr. Becky's GAPS book actually mentions the importance of having fermented foods in baby from as early as day 1. She actually talks about how it's training your gut microbes. This is actually something when I met with her early on in my baby's life, she mentioned that I really needed to get on. And she said that the reason is because the first 10 days, your baby's gut microbiome is so malleable and it's very easy to train it to do the right thing. So if you can have fermented brines prepared in pregnancy, all different types of fermented brines, and basically start your baby on drops and drops of those from day 1, you're going to be training that gut microbiome to tolerate things. You're going to be training it to have a proper function and have a diverse array of microbes. And that's going to be the most ideal. So we didn't actually start as early as day 1, but once I learned that, I made it a priority to have these fermented foods really at the ready and in my baby's diet on a regular basis. This is things like beet kvass, sauerkraut brine, kefir. If you need to dilute them, if you notice a reaction in your baby, you can do that. You can dilute it in like a cup of water and take a little drop of that and build your baby's tolerance to that over time. Again, it wouldn't be a bad thing for you to see detox reactions in babies from taking probiotics, but you want to just go really slow and be really gentle. Make sure that you're monitoring those reactions, their fussiness levels, their any type of skin irritation. I noticed for my baby that he had some cradle cap, which is actually a yeast on the scalp. And I noticed as I increased probiotics that it would get worse. And so I really tried to slowly increase, adjust a couple other things, which I'll mention later on, especially particularly sugar. To capitalize on this, homemade ferments are way better than any store-bought brand of probiotic. Although I bought some probiotics in the beginning thinking, okay, maybe it'll be a good way to ease my baby into it. And now I look back and it's just kind of funny because a drop of kefir would do so much more than probably 10 bottles of the type of stuff I was getting. If you're going to use a probiotic supplement, again, I mentioned this in a recent video, you want to make sure that you're getting ones with a diverse array of microbes. So not just one strain. The one I bought, it's kind of hilarious. It's not going to do very much to have one strain of bacteria. You want to have a diverse array of bacteria. So as many as possible, and kefir, homemade fermented foods is going to be the best thing. Dr. Natasha even says you can put drops of this on your breast if you're breastfeeding, so that you're making sure the baby is getting that in on a regular basis. Number 3 is going to be detox support. At this age, really the best form of detox support is going to be baths. So I prefer to not give my baby any type of soapy bubble baths. I will instead opt for detox baths. You can alternate between baking soda, apple cider vinegar, Dead Sea salt, Epsom salt, and even diatomaceous earth, really low amounts of it. You can slowly kind of build in the amounts as your baby tolerates. It's going to be great for their skin. They're going to be able to absorb it and detox right in the bath. Once your baby hits the age of 1, I was advised by Dr. Becky, they can actually start doing some more targeted heavy metal detox, heavy metal chelation, and you're going to want to talk with a practitioner about this. I prefer to initiate this process as early as possible. There are a variety of different ways you can go about this. I know that I actually started with the spray before 1 year old, the zeolite spray that I've been using that is a much more gentle form of heavy metal detox than some other types, but do your own research and definitely meet with a practitioner. But around the age of 1 is really when you can start introducing some more targeted heavy metal detox. And that is going to really make a difference in your baby's gut microbiome, because if there's toxins in your gut, I've explained this before, the more toxins that are in the baby, the more yeast and pathogenic overgrowth you're going to have in order to cushion and shield your baby from those toxins. Your body does this kind of intuitively. If you're looking to decrease the yeast level, decrease the pathogenic bacteria level, you're going to want to decrease the toxin level. They both go hand in hand. So again, meet with a practitioner, but I think addressing that is really key. Number 4 is going to be to cut out toxins from your life, making sure that the products you're using are completely toxin-free, no chemicals. Like I said, not too much soap. Watch what your baby's putting in their mouth. The clothing, the detergents, the air quality, getting a good quality air purifier. If you have mold in your house, you could take my recommendations for my mold videos and actually ozone your house periodically to make sure that your baby is able to breathe in. There's a whole host of things that you can do. I made a whole video on detoxing your home if you want to get started, for those of you who are just beginning, but that's going to be really important because you don't want to be adding more toxins to your baby. The environment, making sure that the environment is set up for success, is going to make sure that their gut microbiome doesn't have to do double the work, triple the work to detox from external environmental toxins. I also want to caveat here that you're going to want to make sure you do your research, because there's heavy metals in things that you wouldn't even think there would be. Watch out for like aluminum casings on baby foods. Make sure to do a little bit of research into certain baby food brands that you maybe commit to, because I have heard that some of the pre-made ones actually have heavy metals, lead, aluminum, that sort of thing. Number 5 is going to be meat stock. And meat stock is like the best first food that you could give your baby. It's the best thing that you could have in your child's diet all the way from 0 to 18 on a regular basis. If you could have that in your baby's diet, you're going to be well off. Babies can consume meat stock cold in like the jelly form. It's actually nice and soothing on teeth and gums. It's really basic. It's just short cooked meaty bones in water with a little bit of salt. That's all it really takes to begin the gut healing process, because like I've spoken about here on my channel before, meat stock is going to act like a spackle to your digestive tract. And for babies, especially if they have had toxic exposure, if they have had an imbalance passed on from them from their mother, which is super common, they really need those amino acids, those building blocks, to repair the tissue in their digestive tract so that they can actually start to digest the things that are coming into them properly. Meat stock is a great, easy to digest food, and if for whatever reason your baby cannot tolerate the type of meat stock that you're giving them, do not give up. I would just watch the vegetables that you're adding into it, maybe cut back on those, see if a different combination or no vegetables at all that goes better. I actually know some families that need to switch the type of animal meat stock that you have, because babies can be reactive to a lot of different things in the animals. So if your baby can't do chicken, try beef. If your baby can't do beef and chicken, try lamb. If your baby can't do any of those, you could try all sorts of different things. Be sure to look out for the quality of the animal because that can play a factor in it, what the animal is being fed. We do a lot of chicken meat stock in this house, and my baby gets it as often as I can offer it to him. He likes to drink it through a straw. He likes to drink it through a straw right now, but any way you can really mix that in with food, cook all the baby's food in it, it's going to be. And number 6 is going to be just starting solids. And we have kind of been in a process of that currently. My baby is 13 months old, and I really believe that starting your baby out on baby gaps is key. The basics of baby gaps really comes down to delaying the introduction of grains and sugar, even limiting fruit. So I know that part might be a little controversial. It's going to be key here because, again, we're training the gut bacteria. So we're not trying to feed pathogens right out of the gate. We want to give the baby time to have a functioning, healthy digestive system. What you do to your baby now is going to set them up or not for the future, and it's never irreversible. I don't believe that, but the more you can put in now, especially when they don't have as much control, the better off you're going to be. So it's going to be good to have your baby on an ancestral, nourishing diet. Lots of organ meats, lots of liver, get their taste buds acclimated to the nourishing, healthy foods from a young age, and don't rush on introducing things that are more complex, like complex carbs, starches, grains, all those things, because they are harder to digest and they can hinder the process of you developing a robust immune system right out the gate. In our house, we just do not let him have grains. We barely let him have fruit. Sometimes I'll give him fruit if it's partnered with kefir, but we gave him fruit before, and honestly, he became a little fruit fiend. And anytime he saw it now, he just like screams for it like he's a little addict, because that's what the gut microbiome can do, is it can create these like sugar addictions. And I want to kind of delay that or cut that off, nip it in the bud as fast as possible so that he's really set up for success. And obviously, we're not going to go like that forever, but as much as I can in the beginning, I'm going to control what I can control. So these are some of my best tips. I hope you found them helpful. The interesting thing about the GAPS diet or any kind of gut health diet is that it often takes us back to eating baby food. And there really is a reason for that. Having the easy to digest vegetables, like the long cooked vegetables, the slow cooked meat, you're not giving them crispy bits, you're not giving them too fibrous foods. Nature really does know what is best for building a gut microbiome. You wouldn't intuitively give your baby these things. And so if you're in the process of healing your gut, that is kind of what the process looks like. It's very similar to what a baby would start as, because rebuilding the gut and building the gut really, they go hand in hand. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you got any value out of it, please like and subscribe to my channel. It is my passion to walk alongside people as they heal and grow. It inspires me and hopefully brings encouragement to you. Thanks for watching.